In what Sheriff Troy Nails describes as an execution. The scene slowly winding down just off of Amethyst Isle Lane tonight after the woman's boyfriend drove through a fence after shots were fired. ABC 13's Nick Notario is getting reaction in that neighborhood after an emotional day. But we started with our Maya Shea, who has the latest details on the case.
It is such a sad situation here, and a story we've heard all too often. But in this case, the woman and her current boyfriend drove up to the neighborhood. And when they came in this morning, that's when the shots began. The boyfriend did not survive his injuries, and his friends are now speaking out. Early this morning, gunfire rang out at this otherwise quiet corner of Fort Bend County. Sheriff deputies would soon determine that a woman's boyfriend was killed, allegedly by her ex-husband. Ronald Vaughns had no idea the dead person would be his best friend.
He was at my house this morning. He left with his girlfriend, and I called him an hour and a half later. Nobody picked up. His girl called me back like 20-30 minutes later, and she told me that he's dead.
Vaughns and other friends identified the dead as Martez Hurt, an aspiring entrepreneur originally from the Washington, D.C. area. On his Instagram pages, Hurt showcased his rap music and his own business. His college classmate initially hoped all of this was a bad Halloween prank.
We joke hard. We joke hard, so hard where you might not want to be our friends no more. And I was hoping this was a real sick Halloween joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all done took me over the top.
But sheriff investigators say they believe it was an ongoing domestic argument that escalated. They identified Matthew Jacobs as the ex-husband suspected of shooting Hurt. Initially, Jacobs ran from authorities, but eventually turned himself in to police.
Why did he choose to turn himself in? And he told our detectives that he called an attorney, and the attorney told him to turn himself in.
Our cameras captured the suspect being driven away by sheriff detectives from the Missouri City Police Department. As the investigation continues,
Man, fuck that nigga, man.
He's still in shock.
Sad situation. I've lost a lot of people in my life, but this one is different. It's best friend.
Yeah, so devastating for these young people who actually spent a lot of time together. Of course, this neighborhood shocked by what happened, and with more on that is my colleague, Nick Notario. Nick?
Deputies say domestic violence is what started today's incident. People who work with domestic violence here in Fort Bend County say they're not surprised because they've seen an increase during the pandemic, which they say has only made it harder for victims to get help. Fort Bend County Sheriff deputies say today's homicide was the first it's worked in 9 months, but it stemmed from an incident they're seeing more of.
It's some type of a domestic issue. They got divorced, right? And so she ends up moving out here.
Now they're trying to figure out how a recent divorce turned deadly.
Obviously, there was some issues, obviously jealousy, whatever it may be. We're looking into it. But the fact of the matter is we have a young male in his 30s that's deceased, and he was pretty much executed.
We asked the sheriff's office for domestic violence case numbers, but they asked us to file a records request, which ABC 13